Here's a great movie, The Awful Truth, 1937. Irene Dunn, you may not know her, stars, and Cary Grant gets second billing here. This is in the Criterion Collection, of course. This is a really good screwball comedy. I enjoy it quite a bit, and anybody who's a Cary Grant fan is going to get a kick out of this, no matter what the contents of this is. The director here is Leo McCarey, and this is not as fast-paced, wacky as Howard Hawks's similar works at the time, like Bringing Up Baby, but it's not as what kind of wry and serious or sometimes serious as Ernst Lubitsch. This has some goofy slapstick in it, and it's got a lot of subtle I would say, sexual dynamics in it between a husband and wife character, the Warreners, who are a Manhattan elites, and they end up divorcing. And most of this movie is them being jealous of each other, particularly Jerry Warner, played by Cary Grant, who doesn't want to outright say he wants his wife back and doesn't want to divorce her, but well, I think most of the movie, in fact, maybe all the movie, he definitely wants her back. Couple divorced under strange circumstances, and it may be coded for us pretty ambiguous. Is he cheating on her? Is she cheating on him? The opening scenes hint at this, but I don't think we ever fully know for sure 100%. You can have your opinion on this. And both of them suspect each other, of course, as they find out that he's gone off to California instead of Florida, and she's been hanging out with her French a singing teacher, perhaps way too much. The divorce leads into a divorce court scene where they have to figure out who gets the dog named Mr. Smith, a cute terrier dog in this movie, and then begins a countdown clock. This movie features a lot of clocks. Viewers will note who have seen this, the end of the movie with the cuckoo clock. You will never forget the cuckoo clock in this movie, but the movie begins with the clock. It's got clocks throughout as their divorce goes down to being final, and they're basically counting down the days. And meanwhile, there are a number of scenes in which he goes over to her apartment, and for various reasons, maybe made up, maybe not, and she gets a rebound love interest, an Oklahoma billionaire or millionaire, I suppose, who is just head over heels with her. He's kind of a goober character, and yet she is maybe using him to make Jerry jealous so that he will want her back. It's hard to tell in this movie. That's what makes it fun. Now, the movie is definitely a Great Depression era film, showing the elites of Manhattan off in their 0.1% glory for, I suppose, Great Depression era moviegoers who are definitely not as well off as they are. It's a very opulent movie. It's basically a fashion show in parts. I love her outfits in this. Every scene has a wildly different opulent outfit, fur, coats. My goodness, she's wearing a diamond mine, I think. And the male fashion show is there too for you to see in all its glory. The movie has a number of visual sight gags in which, Jerry Warner, the Cary Grant character, will be hit in the face, will fall or trip over. And she will be confronted with 3 different men. A lot of these scenes are contrived in such a way that she will have to face the fact that there are 2, if not 3, different men after her, and they're all sort of piled in a room together. It happens every scene where here's Jerry, and then here's the French singing teacher, and here's the Oklahoma goober millionaire coming in and exiting the scene. And it's delightful fun to watch her sort of navigate this. And you will note a number of shots in which she's very particularly looking small, contained, constrained, and very awkward as she faces off against the 3 of them. I feel like this movie is for domestic housewife types, which Hollywood is catering to at this time. They're one of the largest movie-going audiences at this point in time, and since the Irene Dunn character is the focus here with these 2 to 3 to 4 men and the thematic concerns of will she get back together with the man she really loves, whom she's still married to, will she do that, or will their marriage fail and end in divorce? The movie is in a moment where the Hays Code is in effect. You should go read it, the Hays Code of 1930, Hollywood's self-censorship code, which is a weird thing to look at from our point of view. It has a number of strictures about it, including sexual material. And the ending scene can't help but strike you as weird, yet I find it almost delightfully playfully erotic in terms of a married couple trying to get back together. It's a contrivance. It's a sort of a spoiler, so don't listen if you don't want to spoil the movie. But the contrivance is she gets him into a spot where they're stuck in a cabin. There are 2 bedrooms connected only by a door, and their marriage is going to end. at the stroke of midnight. And of course, they're both wanting the marriage to not end. And hopefully that door will blow open thanks to the wind, although there's a black cat trying to hold it closed. But the Hays Code is pretty strict on, you know, anything that's sexual, even including childbirth of all things, can't be shown in movies supposedly at this time. And so the scene is wrestling with the strictures of the code, but is also really subtle, playful, witty. And I think that's true of the whole movie, where it's dancing around tricky topics for the code at the time, you know, sexual deviancy, adultery, lust, those sorts of things, but not being able to outright talk about them or show them. There's even a moment where this Southern woman's skirt blows up as she's singing a song in a nightclub, reminiscent of Marilyn Monroe's later, that will come later, you know, 18 years later in the 50s movie. But here it's happening, but it goes as far as it can, but it's not too showy. So the end scene, and even the end shot of, well, the married couple getting back together, I suppose, is playful, but as we've said before, it's very coded in what's going on. So the attentive viewer will know, and an unattentive viewer will be left scratching their heads. And I find for this movie, and then maybe this genre of screwball comedy, the code actually can work pretty well for them. Heavy censorship, heavy strictures allow for them to play with the borders of the code and mess around and send weird signals to the audience about what's really going on in the characters' hearts, or their verbal wit, or what's happening in the bedroom. And maybe, you know, I'm not arguing for censorship, but in some cases, when you have a code like this, you can really be very playful, and it allows artists to do that in a fun, ambiguous way. Now, I just love Irene Dunne in this a lot. She's so delightful. Maybe this is her best. Pauline Kael says this is her best performance. And paired with Cary Grant, who, you know, you probably know is kind of an unbeatable actor as far as enjoying watching him. These two are just as delightful as possibly could be, as a couple who want to be with each other and yet need to look like they don't want to be with each other. So I find that in and of itself is fun and makes this movie a delight. It is worthy to be in the Criterion Collection, to be rewatched and studied. And I'll say this again, I said this across the channel many times, I wish they made more screwball comedies. It works in movies. They figured out the tricks and the codes and the techniques to use, and it will still work today, albeit for different audiences, but I think this can still work in its own format. And I'm sure it kind of does. Should I bring this up in this video? I think the Deadpool movies are kind of sort of weird screwball comedies. They may not be for me or for you, but they're sort of doing some of that you see in these 1930s movies. So what do you think of The Awful Truth? Have you seen it? Let us know your thoughts, anything about the video. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.